It was an absolute atrocity what the Detroit Lions did in the NFL Hall of Fame game tonight. There's no way that Dan Campbell and this Lions coaching staff went through the entirety of this offseason, OTAs, mini camp, and the first week of training camp, and came to the conclusion that Kyle Allen was a better quarterback than Hendon Hooker, a.k.a. Money Hendon. Kyle Allen is the worst backup quarterback that I've ever seen in my life. This dude was flat out hot garbage tonight. And his first few possessions, the dude stunk up the joint. He had 2 interceptions. Even when he had a good drive, he still ended it off in really ugly fashion. Henden Hooker, people seem to forget, 3 years ago, during his final season at Tennessee, up until South Carolina injured him and he had to suffer an ACL injury that forced him to have to rehab during the entirety of his rookie year, he was expected to be a first-round pick up there with Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. Let's not forget that. Hendon Hooker, at one point in time, was viewed as a first-round prospect. So he tears his ACL. He ends up having to redshirt his rookie season with Detroit. And during his second year, okay, he gets a little bit of preseason action, but he's behind Nate Sudfeld, who may be worse than Kyle Allen. So then, Hendon Hooker in year 3, you're expecting him to finally claim the role as the undisputed backup quarterback for the Detroit Lions. But instead, Dan Campbell wants to be a meathead, and he wants to make this a quarterback competition for the backup spot when there really shouldn't be no competition at all. Kyle Allen stinks. We saw that tonight, that Hendon Hooker would have been way better playing with the twos than what Kyle Allen was. What do you expect Hendon Hooker to do when the dude's playing with jabronis? He's playing with a bunch of guys that either are going to be on the practice squad or playing for the UFL at the start of 2026. Of course he wasn't going to look good because he was in a compromising situation. Hendon Hooker, I will live and die on this hill, has the capability to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. What he did his 2 seasons at the University of Tennessee was nothing short of spectacular. He was one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the history of college football. His 2-year run at Tennessee, he had 58 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. That was the best touchdown to interception ratio in all of college football during that span. He was better taking care of the football. If you don't want the starting quarterback of your favorite team to play like Anthony Richardson, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, check us out, JT Sports, on all podcasting platforms. Give us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Let's get back to the video. Then Bryce Young was CJ Stroud. And if it wasn't for that ACL injury, Hendon Hooker, without a doubt, would have went either in round 1 or round 2 of the draft to an organization that would have given him the opportunity to be the long-term starter. The Detroit Lions have Hendon Hooker locked in a box. They're not allowing him to truly show how good he has the ability to be because, for one, you got Jared Goff. Cool. But 2, they want to make these blockheaded decisions to try to make a quarterback competition out of one that really shouldn't be a competition at all. If anything, we should be having a competition to see who should be QB3 behind Kyle Allen. Because if this is the dude that you're going to be trying out on the field, if something happens to Jared Goff, you are effed. You are. Your season's over. If Jared Goff gets injured and you're telling me that Kyle Allen is going to be the backup instead of Hendon Hooker, then the Detroit Lions season is over if that ever happens. And you better pray that it doesn't happen if you're the Detroit Lions. If you are the Detroit Lions, you better pray that Dan Campbell comes to his senses and realizes that Hendon Hooker is miles better than Kyle Allen. Hendon Hooker has great accuracy, great touch on the ball. He's a pretty good athlete as well. We've seen enough out of Kyle Allen. This dude has been a journeyman backup quarterback for what, nearly a decade. What more do we need to see out of him? Nothing else. He's garbage. And I know that he's in the NFL. I'm not in the NFL. So what right do I have to call this dude garbage? Okay, you got a point with that. But if we are comparing Kyle Allen to his contemporaries, and we are comparing Kyle Allen to Hendon Hooker, he's garbage. Hendon Hooker clears Kyle Allen. It was an atrocity that first I turn on my screen and the Detroit Lions choke up the pigskin the first play of the game. I'm like, okay, so I gotta wait 5 more minutes to see some Hendon Hooker. Cool. So then you finally get an opportunity to see the Detroit Lions put their offense on the field. You're expecting to see Hendon Hooker, and they got Kyle Allen on the field. I'm just like, oh my goodness. And then the dude is just overthrowing guys, throwing the ball in the dirt. He's throwing interceptions. I mean, if Kyle Allen is the Detroit Lions backup quarterback, good luck, because you're going to need it. There's no way that you can justify, if you have eyes that work, if you just have somewhat functioning eyes, you don't even need to have 20/20 vision. If you can just somewhat see, you can't tell that Kyle Allen is an NFL quarterback with how he looked tonight. This dude looked like he belonged in a Canadian Football League or the UFL. There is no way in hell that Henden Hooker should be competing for a backup spot with a scrub like Kyle Allen. This dude just straight up stinks. Why do the Detroit Lions continue to play with Hendon Hooker like this? Last year, they had him competing for the backup job with Nate Stufffield. Now, for another offseason, they have him competing against another scrub for the backup job? I mean, come on, Brad Holmes. Come on, Dan Campbell. Let's wake up. Let's stop acting like Hendon Hooker ain't one of those ones. If the New Orleans Saints was smart, they would trade for Hendon Hooker, because Hendon Hooker is better than any quarterback that the Saints currently have on that roster. He's better than Tyler Shough. He's better than Spencer Rattler. He's better than Jake Haener. Hendon Hooker can be a franchise quarterback in this league if given the opportunity. And he definitely can be better than a QB3 if Dan Campbell can wake up and open his freaking eyes. Maybe Dan Campbell needs to go get his eyes checked, because with how much of an atrocity that Lions offense was with Kyle Allen in that quarterback, he just might need to go get his vision checked. Because there's no way that we could have watched this game and Dan Campbell say, oh, yeah, like, we're going to roll with Kyle Allen as our backup quarterback for this year. Huh?